Hello and welcome back. Thank you for subscribing to my channel, Paint with Gloria. Now let's get started. Hello everyone and welcome back to another video on how to. I decided to do a little fast forward in here because this is going to be the background, and as long as you put in some greens and blues and yellows and even white and just mix it around to get a nice background, there's no right or wrong way to do it as long as you get a pretty background, and that's what we're looking for here. As you also noted, I have listed the colors I've used in acrylics on the right hand side of the painting. So now I'm going to do normal speed because this is when we actually start the painting. And again, you'll see that I'm going to be doing different shapes of leaves, lights and darks. And again, this is part of all the background because the focus is going to be the red hibiscus. So as long as you put some green in there to give the impression of some leaves, please do not do any details. Just do any shape that might represent a leaf. Okay. In the meantime, you're just going to hear some soft music and enjoy the music and just follow along. If you have to pause the video, do so as many times as you have to, and just enjoy. Take your time. What I'm going for here is a small painting. It's a 5x7, and again you can start it on 11x14 if you like, or maybe you just have to add more flowers, more leaves, and then cut it to size to whatever size you like. And if you're doing 11x14, that means you can cut it to 8x10, 5x7, or keep it as 11x14. That's totally up to you. But my goal here is to try to keep it centered so that I can just cut and do a 5x7. That's all I'm looking for, a small one. Here I'm using an angle brush. I'll be using a small liner, maybe a 1/2 inch, and a square brush, so you also know what I'll be using. Round, flat liner. I'm trying to catch my breath here because I just came from outside. I was in my garden replanting certain plants, and boy oh boy, it's so hot out there. Crazy. I'm looking forward to the cooler weather, spend more time outside. So that you know, I'll be moving my studio to a different location. One of these days I might just make a video on my studio, and if you like the setup, you can do the same. If you don't have the room, any corner in your home will do, as long as you have access to your paints and brushes and lighting. Lighting is the light outside is really good, and if you can't get the light outside, for one reason or another. You can always get light bulbs for your lamps, for your ceiling lights, and make sure you get the day lights. Those give you the closest light, natural light from outside. They're called daylights. You can find them anywhere. In times like this, we need to stay busy, keep our minds busy. Do things around the house, do things around outside, inside, do things with your family. Just stay busy so we don't focus on anything else but the good stuff, right? See, I'm just trying to fill it up with leaves. Any shape of leaves, it doesn't have to be in a certain order, just as long as you fill it in. And what I'm using here is a canvas pad, and I take the size so it stays in place. And if you're practicing, I suggest you use a canvas pad. Save money. You don't have to go out and buy canvases or the most expensive paints you can find. Don't do that. Please make sure that you like painting before you go out and invest a lot of money on the better quality stuff. But always start inexpensive, just in case. But I think once you do your first painting, I think you like painting. It's just going to be a matter of finding the time to do it, right? We all struggle with time, but we do have to make time for things that we enjoy doing. Here's the flower that we're going for. See, that's the size that I'm going for, so I'm going to try to center that in the middle. So here's the frame. This is a 5x7 on the inside square. So because this is what the size I'm looking for, I'm going to make sure that my flower is right in the center. And if your flower falls more to the left or the right, top or bottom, just move your frame, mark it, and you can always cut it to size. But always pick the best part of the painting. Getting picky here, you don't have to. Just once you paint a lot, sometimes we'll overdo it. This is not necessary, but sometimes it just makes it look prettier. And if you have the time, do it. If not, just skip it. Most of it will be covered with the flower anyway. Sometimes when I paint, it's funny because I don't know when to stop. I'll just keep going and going and going. We are in October, so we're going to be getting cooler weather, which I'm hoping, and I do plan to paint outside and do a video on that, because it's really nice to paint outside when you can, as long as it's not windy, and then you should be fine. They call that plein air. Plein air, painting with the natural light. But we can always do that, so when we can, we should. Right now what I'm doing is I'm just drawing in the basic shape of the flower using the brush and the red paint. I'm trying to follow the picture that I showed you. Instantly, I noticed that the petal on the bottom is kind of long, so that's kind of bothering me, so we might have to do something with that. But for now, let's just continue. See, I'm making it a little larger. And you can make this any color you want. They got so many different colors out there. This one is called the mop brush. Looks like a little mop. I use this mop brush for a lot in watercolors, but you can always use it in any medium. It's very soft brittles, but it works here too. See, for me, it's easier to flip it instead of struggling at that angle. So you can flip or turn the canvas pad or your canvas stretch canvas or notebook or whatever it is you're using to practice on. You can always turn it around so it'll be easier on your wrist. In case you're wondering where I come up with these pictures, well, for this one, for example, I was sitting in my friend's front yard, and I was just looking at her garden, and I noticed this flower, and I'm like, oh, that will make a beautiful painting. So I went, I took a picture of it, printed it, and here we are. So if you see something pretty, take a picture and put it away, because until you decide to paint it, because if you see something you like and you don't take a picture of it, you might regret it. And not only that, but if you wait too long, then you go back to take it, it'll be totally different. So take a picture at the moment. That's what I did here at my friend's house. Still looking at this flower and I'm like, I still think that the bottom petal is still too long. It's not coming together with the rest of the flower. So we might have to take care of that in a few minutes. Just doing a little bit of highlights where the light is hitting on it so that you can see the darks and the lights. See, here again, we gotta make sure that the flower fits into the frame. And you notice that it's too long. So we're gonna have to do something about it right now before we continue. So because acrylic is so forgiving, we're just gonna white it out. Once the white acrylic dries, it's like whitening it out, masking it. When it dries, we can go back 2 or 3 times, whatever you have to, just to make sure that you don't see the red coming through. So you see how much better that looks already? Let it dry. You can fan it with your hand, or you can take the blow dry to it, or just walk away, go have yourself a cup of coffee, drink some water, whatever you like, and come back when it's dry. And then do it again, do the red, but not as long. Continue. See, what I'm doing here is I'm going to continue in other parts of the flower, giving the white a chance to dry. And what I did here is I'm just using different types of red. You don't have to stick to one color. You can use different types of reds, and you'll see that the stores, our supply stores anywhere, will have all sorts of reds, not just one, which is awesome. I like that. Which means you don't have to mix so much. Just apply it directly. Just reshaping the petal. Just take a stand back and at least 4 feet and look at it and see what you see. And I'm sure you'll like it. Whatever you've done so far, I'm sure you're gonna love it. Do me a favor, when you do this flower, can you send me a picture just so that I can see what you're up to, what you have done? If you have any questions, you can make comments below and let me know what your questions are. But I would just love to see what you've done. So make sure you send those to me. When you're using the darks and lights, it gives it the 3D. See, I think it's dried enough, so now we're going to add the greens to it to represent the leaves. So we can cover the white and it will all come together again. So you will never know that I whited it out. Nobody can ever tell. So just fill it in with some greens again and move on. But make sure it's dry now. Look how pretty that looks. As if I say so myself, right? I'm sure you agree. Look how pretty. See, I'm trying to get all the white spots. Almost done. And you don't have to only do the one in the middle. You can add smaller ones in the back. Just don't do as many details because they're far. But just to give the illusion that it's a garden full of flowers, you can do that too. And that's just an idea. If you think this one might be too plain for your taste. Now to me, when you paint with acrylics, when you do apply it, it looks lighter, but then as it dries, it gets a little dark and darkened. So you might have to go back and just go ahead and put more highlights in it. Just make sure you apply here and there. Don't try to cover the whole flower with white. Just here and there. Stand back, look at it. That's how is the best way to tell if it's coming along the way you want it. I'm just playing around with the yellow, making it lighter, making it darker, just to see what looks best. See, I stood back and I noticed it just needs to be a little whiter, and I did that, adding a nice pretty red there. Very pretty red. You see how, I don't know if you noticed, but I noticed that it did get dark, so came back with the red. I believe this is the bright red that I'm using here. Look at that. Gorgeous. It's such a pleasure to see something almost finished. And then when it's complete, you say, wow, did I do that? Well, yes, you did. Be proud of yourself. As you can tell, these are just very light touches. I'm applying it very light. I'm not pressing on the brush at all. I'm keeping it very light. Because I believe if you do press on that brush, all the paint that's on that brush is going to go onto your canvas, onto your flower. You don't want that. So make sure you keep it light. Don't press on it too hard. I can tell you to hang in there, but I think in about 3 minutes we should be done with this flower. There's no rush, I'm just saying. I know we all got things to do, but always make sure you take time to paint. Do things you enjoy. This is good therapy, just like camping. Painting and camping is two of my favorite therapy. stop right here. But once again, it's hard to know when to stop, so you have to tell yourself, okay, enough is enough, and stop and call it a finished painting. See? That's just me. Blend those things in, blend it, blend it, blend it. Go in the same direction that you imagined that the petals go into. So when you're doing the highlights, like what I just did, make sure you turn your brush going into the middle of the flower. Well, the flower is done. It's complete. So I'm not going to touch it anymore. So you can stop as well, as long as you're happy with it. And this is what it looks like framed. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick the prettiest side. That's why you have to move it around and mark it, so you know that when you cut, you have the side and the look that you're looking for. You can move it a little left or the right, but I'd rather just keep it more to the left, being that we have the tape on the right hand side. So here I mark. So now I'm going to have a 5x7 in the window. Here I'm removing the tape pretty neat way to paint, especially when we're practicing. Easier to store instead of storing stretched canvases that take a lot of space. This is the easiest way because you can always put this in a binder or in a notebook and keep it somewhere safe if you don't want to frame it at the moment. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I always do painting and showing you how I paint. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a great day. God bless you. Stay safe and stay positive. Okay. Adios amigos. Until our next adventure.